unfiltered and unapologetic. She's in your face like, yeah, bitches, I said it. Authentic heart, honestly, really deceivably. Talking my life and all the betweens. She's Candidly Kasi. Not fake, pathetic. It's Candidly.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm so glad you're here. If you tuned in last week, you know that this week I am talking about breast implant illness, specifically what I dealt with by having breast implants. And if you remember, I ended by saying this: I have a big appointment coming up, and I will have confirmation if what I think is happening is going to happen. So on the next episode, I should be able to tell you, like, yeah, I have great big news for myself, or no, I don't. So I actually did have the appointment. I have the, I guess, news to be sharing. But before I do, I want to go all the way back and explain how I ended up here. So I wanted breast implants for as long as I could remember. I actually have pictures of me with balloons in my chest, which I think a lot of kids do. But when I was doing it, I just wanted big boobs. I just remember watching Baywatch and seeing Pamela Anderson and wanting those boobs. Maybe I thought that they were going to just naturally happen to me. I'm not really sure, because I know at that point, obviously, I was a little kid. I didn't know what cosmetic surgery was or breast implants or anything like that. But I just knew that I wanted big boobs for whatever reason. As I got older, it was something that I still had wanted prior to getting them. It's so hard. I was trying to go through pictures to see what my chest looked like. And I think I was like a full C. There was nothing wrong with my boobs. There was no reason to do anything to them. But I did have a baby at 23, and I breastfed for almost a year. I would have gone longer, but weirdly enough, I ended up losing so much weight from breastfeeding. I was actually 25 pounds thinner than I was when I was pre-pregnancy. It was crazy. And I kind of expected that to happen the second time, and it did not. So I had a little bit of unrealistic expectations with that. But separate from that, after that had happened, when I was newly divorced, and my boobs looked like tube socks that had a handful of nickels in each one. Like, they were just not the same. There was no volume up top. I was very self-conscious. I just felt like, damn, and like I said, I was in my young 20s, and it just wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal. So when I had the money, I bought myself a pair of titties. I remember going to the doctor and going over, the different types of implants, and do I want silicone or do I want saline? And I remember at that time, I thought like silicone was the devil. I thought silicone was like way worse and saline was so much safer. The main difference between saline and silicone is obviously silicone is silicone. They hold their shape. So even if silicone ruptures, it's going to hold on to its shape. A little bit of foreshadowing there for you. Saline, if it ruptures, because your boob goes back to its natural state. Okay? You're just like, whoa, one's there, one's not. I picked saline because I thought that again, was safer. I did not know at the time that saline is encapsulated in silicone, so that really doesn't matter. I did not know at the time that saline can grow mold on the inside of the implant. I had no idea until I got sick later did I find all of this stuff out, because there was many people that were sick from saline and also sick from silicone. So if you are thinking about getting breast implants, just know that there's not really like one's better than the other. And I'm not telling anybody not to do this, by the way. This is just what happened to me. My hope is that if anybody does have them or knows somebody who has them and that person is sick, that then you can kind of relay this message, because it was so overlooked for me. Nobody had pinpointed that it was my implants. So first I had saline. I actually have the card from my 2 surgeries. So when you get your boobs done, if you ever do, you get these cards. So I had Mentor. They were $425 on each side. The right was filled to $435. the left was filled to 450 because your boobs can be different shapes. So you can like overfill that a little bit. It says exactly what's in there. And on the back, it has like your reference numbers. Okay. It just has everything on there like that. So I got those in, man, it's hard. Actually, it's not hard. It's right here, dumbass. Okay. So my first surgery was on November 30th of 2011. I loved my boobs. I thought they were great. I was really, really in shape at the time. I was teaching pole fitness classes. I was working a bunch of jobs. It was crazy, but I was teaching pole fitness classes and I was doing that like 6 days a week. So I was in really, really good shape. I think from doing that, constantly pulling myself up, you know, when you're doing that motion, your chest is just moving and moving and moving like out. I remember one night I was laying in bed and my implant went into my armpit and it fucking hurt. And I was like, whoa, like that first night that it shifted, the pocket had opened for whatever reason, probably again from doing so much of that same type of movement, exercise, constantly pulling my body weight up, holding my body upside down. It was pretty strenuous. So I had that go for a while. This was like, I don't know, these lasted for 4 years, not even 4 years. I had them replaced like 3.5 years later. I had dealt with it for a while, but it was really becoming painful. So then I had to start sleeping with a sports bra on to make sure that it kept that in, because the more that it slipped out and laid in my armpit, the like more painful it became. No sickness at that point, just it was uncomfortable. And also it was starting to like get embarrassing because at that point I was with my husband, now husband, and I would lay in bed and it's like I have one, you know, tits to the wind and one behind my back, basically, at that point is how it felt. So he had said, if you want to fix them, he would pay for it. Say fucking less. So in February of 2015, I upgraded, I'm putting that in air quotes for those of you that can't see me, to silicone, because by that time I wanted them bigger. I also didn't like the saline because you could hear it squishing around. To anybody that has implants, I think it's pretty like common for that to happen. So sometimes you can hear saline swooshing and it didn't feel like a boob. It felt like you were squeezing a water balloon. I can't explain it. It just was very weird. So by that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do silicone. The saline also rippled on the side, which is very common because picture like water in a balloon. You know, if you're sitting it upright, it could ripple on the side. I just wanted a more natural, which is funny I'm saying this because I ended up going so much bigger, which clearly that was not natural, but I ended up doing that. I loved my boobs. Like I loved them. They were everything I wanted. They were sitting high. They were tight. They felt natural. They looked great. Again, I was so tiny and I had these boobs and it just was everything that I had pictured I was going to look like. Did not know that I think 10 days after I had surgery, I then had to have emergency surgery on my ovary because I had a ovarian cyst torsion, which my ovary like flipped on itself and cut off the blood supply. I did not know that that was even a thing that could happen. So I was in like writhing pain from that, had emergency surgery. So I remember being in the hospital. My boobs were still so fresh. I still had like the stitches underneath. They hadn't like dissolved yet. Everything was still hurting. So then I was dealing with that and then my stomach. And it was just crazy. Once I was able to get through that, I really enjoyed them. Like I really, really did. I ended up getting pregnant the following summer. And so I really had like a solid year with my boobs that I got to enjoy them. And after I had a baby, I started getting sick. I just started not feeling like myself. It was like a light switch had gone off. I had stopped doing the pole fitness at that time. I had stopped working out altogether and I was just kind of living my life, you know, had the baby. And I remember one day I went to open up a jar of pickles and I couldn't even like form my hand properly to go around the top of the lid, and I didn't have the strength to do it. I would go to grab my toothbrush and I couldn't grab, like, it was like my hands weren't working the way that hands normally would work. I really can't explain it other than that. It was like I'm looking at something, I'm trying to pick it up, and my hands just were not cooperating. So I was holding my toothbrush in a weird position because that's how I could do it. That was happening. My hair was falling out. I had skin rashes that were just completely unexplainable. You know, the shitty part of all this thing is that I also have celiac disease. So every time I'm not feeling good, I just assume that I ate gluten. That's the easiest thing to do. Even when my ovary had that issue, I was up throwing up, writhing in pain all night because I assumed that I ate gluten. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to bother anybody because this is what it is. It was not that. So these things started happening. Like I said, my hair was falling out. My skin was just dry and like weird. I had these patches. Brain fog was so bad. I remember one time I was driving my baby and I was going to the bank, but I had no idea why I was on the road or where I was going. So I had to pull over and literally just sit there and be like, what are you doing? Where are you going? It was so weird. I started carrying around a journal to say what I was doing before I left the house because that had freaked me out so much. I had this awful smell coming out of my chest, which really should have been a tip off, but it wasn't because it was kind of in like the armpit area. But if I was sweating or nervous, it was like this smell that was so specific. It was like a hoagie, but not like a regular body odor smell. It was almost a very astringent, weird, super concentrated smell. I couldn't even stand to be around myself. Sometimes it was so bad and nothing I did would make it go away. That being said, the same thing in between my crotch area from my leg to my labia, that crease in there had that weird astringent smell. Like anything where there was like a crevice or a crack of my body had this smell. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Again, I'm changing my soaps. I'm doing this. I'm using witch hazel. I'm trying to figure out all this stuff. It got so bad. The joint pain was out of control, like screaming joint pain, like in my body. It just was constantly radiating. I finally decided to go to the doctor because I'm like, something's wrong. I also would have weird fits of vomiting. Like I'd be totally fine. And then it was like I had food poisoning. And I would throw up and throw up and throw up and throw up. And then it was gone. Like it never even happened. And same thing with diarrhea. I was fine. I would have crazy diarrhea and then it was gone. So I went to a few doctors. I'm not going to say their names, even though I would fucking love to. The first one told me I had postpartum depression. I knew I did not. I didn't experience that with my first child. I was not depressed. I was sick. I kept reiterating that. But I was very dismissed and then told just to take the antidepressant that they had prescribed. And I was like, no. Then I went to a doctor who specifically did arthritis because I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I have rheumatoid arthritis. Like I have no idea. And went to him. He was actually the third one that I had gone to. The first two said postpartum depression. I found this other guy and I'm like, he's going to help me. Like this has to be it. He got all this blood work ordered for me. Insurance did not pay for so much of it. It was thousands of dollars that I owed afterwards. And we had very good insurance. Blood work came back normal. So he said, well, the other two doctors said you have postpartum depression. Your labs came back normal. I think you have postpartum depression. And I was like, I don't. Like, I don't. And he was like, all right, well, then you have fibromyalgia. And he prescribed an antidepressant and a medication for fibromyalgia / arthritis that was black boxed warning, absolutely insane. I literally was like, I'm not going to take any of this stuff. Like, this is crazy. I got in my car and I just bawled in the parking lot because I was at my wit's end. Like, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I knew I was sick and nobody believed me. This episode is sponsored by Boron. Since 1932, Boron has been dedicated to providing high-quality medicines made from Earth's best resources. As a world leader in homeopathic medicines, they're passionate about sharing sustainable health solutions for the whole family. You can find Boron medicines at retailers nationwide. Learn more at boronusa.com. All right, I want to share something that's been a staple in my routine for almost 2 years now, Primal Queen. These are female-focused beef organ supplements, which might sound a little different, but hear me out. They are packed with some of the most nutrient-dense ingredients you can give your body. We're talking about real, whole food nutrients that support things like energy, hormone balance, skin, hair, and overall vitality, especially during seasons like perimenopause when your body needs the most support. I've started taking them almost 2 years ago, and not only has my skin never looked better, I just feel more supported overall. It's about nourishing your body from the inside out in a way that actually makes sense. If you've been feeling off or just want to level up your wellness routine, this is something to look into. Go to primalqueen.com/Kasi. That's primalqueen.com/KASI and save 25%. Don't overthink it. Your future self will be glad you didn't. Let's talk about one of the easiest wellness upgrades you can make, switching to real high-quality honey. I use Bees and Trees honey every single day, and it's one of those small habits that actually makes a big difference. It's raw, pure, and packed with natural goodness, nothing like the overly processed stuff you find on most shelves. Whether you're adding it to your coffee, tea, or just taking a spoonful, it's a simple way to support your body while enjoying something sweet, and especially if you're focusing on hormone health, energy, and feeling your best overall. What you put into your body matters. This is one of those feel-good staples I always keep on hand. If you want to upgrade your routine, you can get 10% off at checkout with code CaseyDiStefano at beesandtrees.com. That's www.beesandtrees.com and use code KASIDESTEFANO. It's a small change, but it's a powerful one. At the same time, I had family members and friends who were telling me that I was a hypochondriac and nothing was wrong with me. And I'm like, wow, like it felt like being held underwater and I'm trying to breathe and I'm like screaming, like there's waves blasting my face, like I can't breathe. And everyone's like, no, you can breathe, you're fine. But it was just the weirdest thing. I felt so misunderstood and not heard. I went home that night, was very upset. And I remember being in bed with my husband. And at that time I watched YouTube a lot. And this random video came across, and it was from a woman named Carissa Pukas, Pukas. I'll link it in the video, where she talked about breast implant illness. And I remember I was watching this video and all of the different symptoms, and I was like, holy fucking shit, that's what I have. At that time, my teeth were also crumbling, like so just susceptible to breaking, which I never had like the greatest teeth. I definitely had cavities when I was a kid and stuff, but this was like beyond anything I've ever experienced. This was like eating soft food and your teeth just falling out, okay, falling apart. So that's why if you've ever seen down here, I have a missing tooth because I had it pulled. Let me just go over some of the symptoms that you can have if you have breast implant illness. Chronic fatigue, chronic pain, brain fog, cognitive dysfunction, muscle pain and weakness, joint pain, hair loss, dry skin and hair, premature aging, weight gain, inflammation, insomnia and poor sleep, dry eyes, blurry vision, decline in vision, thyroid problems, adrenal problems, hormone imbalances, dry mouth, digestive issues, SIBO, IBD symptoms, liver, pancreas, and kidney lesions, liver pain, night sweats, temperature dysregulation, heat intolerance, skin rashes, psoriasis, and obviously dental decline, a decline in your teeth. I had so many of those symptoms. This video was incredible. Again, if it's up, which I'm pretty sure it's still on YouTube, I will put that in the comments. Talked about how when she removed her implants, how her symptoms had improved almost immediately. And I remember watching this video and I looked at my husband and I said, this is what I fucking have. Like this 100% without a doubt, when I saw this video, there was no doubt in my mind, this is what I had. He, of course, thought I was crazy. I made an appointment the next morning. I went to the same surgeon and I said, I need these removed. I think this is what's going on. And at that time, it wasn't really that prevalent. So he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Would you rather do an ultrasound or an MRI to see the implant? And I was like, no, I just want them removed. So we made the appointment. I think I had to wait like 3 weeks to have them removed, but I had them removed. Thank goodness. During that time, again, my friends were like, you paid all this money for your tits. You're going to take them out. What are you going to do when you take them out and you're still sick? Like, what are you going to do? And that was pretty much the tone. Not everybody, but I would say 80%. And I just was like, no, I'm doing this. Those 3 weeks, I got so much sicker that when I was going to the bathroom, this yellow sludge was coming out. And I only remember this, not to be disgusting, but I remember I went to the bathroom and I had wiped and it felt like a slime. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And every time I went to the bathroom, it was this yellow slime. So I made an appointment with my regular doctor because I'm like, hey, what am I doing? She was like, listen to me. You need to get these implants out. It doesn't matter how sick you get. You have to have the surgery done. So just get yourself to get through it and don't say you're sick when you get there. Because like I was so sick. And she was like, you have to have the surgery to remove them. You can't not have the surgery because you're too sick because this is what's making you sick. And I remember the morning of surgery, I was praying like, please get me good enough to go to this surgery. And I was sick as a dog, just trying to act like I'm like decently okay. And I remember sitting in there and it was such a different feeling of like having implants. Of course, when I was getting my implants, it was more of an exciting thing. And yes, I hope I don't die in surgery. And yes, I want to make it through and see my kid. This, I didn't feel like I was going to make it through the surgery. It was a completely different thing. I was so sick. I just was like, please let me come out and see my kids on the other side of this. And I went into the room and I woke up. And one of the first things, because you know when you wake up, you're delirious. My eyes were super yellow, by the way, because it was like jaundicey looking. I have photos of that. When I woke up, they were not. They were white for the first time in a long time. The surgeon had said to me, your implant had ruptured. I had a ruptured implant in my right side, and he had to do a lot of digging and scraping to get all of that out. And he was so, I don't want to say sympathetic because that's not the right word. He was so caring and concerned and just wanted to make sure that I felt seen and heard. And I did that day. I really felt it. And he changed the website and added something about breast implant illness immediately to his website. And it's still there. Okay, ladies, I want to talk about something that completely changed my life, and I don't say that lightly. If you're in your 30s or 40s and suddenly feeling off, low energy, mood swings, anxiety, not sleeping, weight changes, and you're wondering what the heck is happening to me, it might be perimenopause. I've been a patient with MIDI Health for almost 2 years now, and it was the first time I actually felt heard, understood, and taken seriously. They specialize in perimenopause and menopause care, and they create personalized treatment plans, so you're not just guessing or being told this is normal. For me, getting the right support made a huge difference in how I feel day to day. And now I'm actually a proud ambassador because I truly believe more women need to know this kind of care exists. This is truly women's health. You don't have to just push through and feel miserable. If you've been struggling and not getting answers, go check out MIDI Health at www.joinmidi.com and see what's possible for you. Let's talk about something nobody really wants to talk about, but we all deal with: gut issues. If you're feeling bloated, sluggish, or just not as regular as you'd like, it can throw off your entire day. That's where Inalax comes in. It's designed to support healthy digestion and help keep things moving gently and effectively without that harsh, uncomfortable feeling you get from a lot of other options. When your gut is working the way it should, everything else just feels easier. Your energy, your mood, your overall vibe. So if your body's been giving you signs, this might be something worth trying. Head on over to www.inalax.com and save 25% when you use code Kasi at checkout. That's INULAX.com and code KASI. Go take care of your gut. You'll feel the difference. Okay, if you have celiac or even just gluten sensitivity, this is something you need to know about. Eating out or trying new foods can be stressful because no matter what anyone says, you never really know if something is truly gluten-free. That's why I use Nema. It's a portable gluten tester that lets you actually check your food before you eat it. And as someone with celiac, that peace of mind is everything. Instead of guessing or hoping for the best, you can feel confident about what you're putting in your body and avoid getting sick from hidden gluten. It's one of those tools that just makes life easier and takes away so much of the anxiety around food. If you want that extra layer of protection, head on over to nemanow.com and use code Kasi at checkout to save 15% off. That's NIMANOW.com, code KASI. Trust me, once you have it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. I felt fucking validated. Everybody that then found out that I had a ruptured implant changed their tune. Everybody. Everyone was like, holy fuck, you almost died. The stuff that was coming out of me, okay, was the exact same color as the stuff ruptured inside of me. It was the exact same yellow sludge. I have pictures. I don't think I'm going to be able, well, you know what? I can do it this way. If you're watching this on Spotify, you can see the photos. If you're just listening, I can describe it to you. So in the photo that I am showing, the bottom is a normal implant. That's what it looks like. It's intact. It's clear. The top was my ruptured implant. It is yellow. It looks like yellow slime. I don't know how else to describe it. That is what it looks like. That is what was coming out of me. That was the smell that was coming out of me. My body was trying to process getting this shit out of me. I just did not know that. Again, silicone implants, I will show you another photo, hold their shape. So the photo on the screen, if you're watching again, that was the morning of my surgery. They are the same. Everything's fine. You can't tell that one is smaller than the other. It's not. It held its shape. I never got into a car accident. I never had any trauma to my chest. Like I said, I wasn't working out. I wasn't doing anything strenuous. I never fell. Nothing had happened. There was no like, oh shit, maybe it happened this day. Nothing had happened. Interestingly enough, when I breastfed my baby, she would not take off of the right side. Would not. Literally would turn her head off of it like something was wrong with it. So she was only going off of my left. I could only do that for so long. Thank God, because my right one was sick. We just didn't know. So I had them removed, and in 2 days I will show you the really, guys, this is something you should watch, because if not, you're not seeing this. So pre-op, I don't know if you can see my hand. It was super, super rashy. 2 days post-op, done. Gone. My eyes were clear. The nausea and vomiting was gone. The diarrhea was gone. The joint pain was better. Wasn't gone. It was significantly better. I got the strength back in my hands. My hair started growing back. Like I said, my eyes were clear again. Like everything got gone to better except my teeth. My teeth never recovered from that for whatever reason. So as I said, I had broke one tooth. That came out. This has just been something, this is the last part of it that I've had to deal with. So I had them removed in 2019. We are now at 2026. So it has been years of dealing with this. So I haven't really talked about this because I'm very much afraid that if I talk about it, it's going to be worse. I'm either jinxing myself or whatever it is. I really never wanted to put it out there, but I've been in pretty extensive pain every day from my teeth, especially when I have my period. It's like lighting my mouth on fire. Like it's already there, but it's like throbbing. So on the top left, I have a bridge. On the bottom left, I have 2 root canals. Okay. On the bottom right, I'm missing a tooth. I have a root canal behind that. On the top, I have 2 crowns and a tooth that just broke, and I wasn't even eating anything like crazy. So I've always been worried about, like, what am I going to do with my teeth? What's going to happen with my teeth? Every time I have so many videos of me laughing, I cover my mouth. I'm always covering my mouth. It's my biggest insecurity. It's my biggest worry. It's the thing that when I would be going to bed, I was thinking about my teeth. When I would wake up, I was thinking about my teeth. It was just always that thing. And I was like, am I going to wake up one day and I'm not going to have any teeth? And I didn't want to embarrass my kids, and I didn't want to feel. It was hard too because for the longest time, for 2 years, I was doing content for a company that was all like mouthwash and dental stuff and toothpaste. And I felt so, I guess the word would be fraudulent. Like I just felt like, man, I'm really doing this. And first of all, at the time, like I did love the products. I didn't love the company as a whole afterwards, but the products I did believe in, I loved them. But here I am selling toothpaste and my mouth is falling apart. But it's falling apart because of a stupid decision that I made. So anyway, I found this video online of this girl. Her name is Bree, and she just had her mouth completely redone. And her teeth are beautiful. And I saw this video and I was like, holy shit. Again, I think the phones are listening to us. Thank God this time it was, because it brought me to what I'm telling you today. So I clicked on her video. She went to a place called Done in One, clicked on them. They just opened a place in Jacksonville. So there's one in Boca Raton, Tampa, and now Jacksonville. Jacksonville, it's 20 minutes from my house. So I made an appointment and that's where I went. I wasn't sure if I was going to be a candidate because I wasn't even sure like what makes you a candidate. I really wasn't. But it's the quality of your jawbone and all that stuff. So I went to the appointment. What they're going to do is probably going to seem extreme. And it is. But they're going to remove all of my teeth during surgery, all of my teeth. And they're going to put implants, 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. And then they put full arch dental implants, so top and bottom. This way there's nothing on the roof of my mouth. They're zirconia teeth. They're beautiful. You can customize exactly how you want your teeth, the color, the shape, everything. The only day that I'll be without teeth is the first day of surgery. The next day I'll go back and have temporary teeth. In a week, I'll have my permanents in. It's not something you take out every day. So they're done. I just have to hope that the implants for some reason don't fail. I don't think they will. He did look at my bone. He said I'm going to be a very easy case, but he did say that I have 2 root canals that are infected. I have one that doesn't even have the crown on that was supposed to. Who the fuck knew that? It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work to basically put Band-Aids on things that eventually I would end up where I am now. So I just made the decision to do it. So that's what I'm doing. My surgery is going to be July 13th. Now, I'm going to share this entire journey with you because I just am. I know there's a lot of people who are dealing with the same, well, not exactly the same thing for the same reason, but the same thing. And I want to be as transparent as possible so that maybe other people are going to want to do the same thing, or you can at least go and find out. I'm very, very nervous. I'll be on a soft food diet for 90 days, which I'm kind of excited about only because I'm really going to get my relationship with food in check because I can't eat crap. So that part doesn't scare me at all. Like a lot of the videos that I've seen where people are talking about their surgery and the aftermath they say is the worst with the soft food diet. I don't really give a shit about that. Like if I have to eat oatmeal every day, 3 times a day, that's totally fine with me. I'm just really excited to finally get this taken care of. And it's something that I never thought was going to happen. It was really something that I just thought my teeth were going to fall out one by one. And then I would eventually get dentures. Like that's how I thought it was going to happen. I didn't think that it could be fixed all in one shot. So I know it seems extreme. I shared it online, which my fault for doing that, but I'm getting 50-50. Like some people are like, oh my God, don't do it. Then other people are like, I have it and I love it. So I think they're the ones that understand. I am going to be podcasting all the way through this. So you're going to see a lot of changes happening, and it's okay because I just want to share this journey. It's what's happening, and that's how I live my life. And I think it would be great. I am really, really scared, like really scared, because you are awake during the surgery and it's a major surgery. They made that very, very clear. This is major surgery. And instead of IV sedation, it's an oral sedation. I don't like taking pills at all. So I'm just a little scared for taking that pill. What's it going to make me feel like? Am I going to be fully awake? Like part of me feels like I'm going to be trapped inside my body where my mind is just fully aware, but the outside of me isn't. And from what I'm reading, that's not how this works. I just have it so worked up in my brain. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I was actually practicing because I don't smile. Like if you go back and look at photos of me, it's very hard to find one where I'm smiling. I just don't. Like I kind of go, I don't smile. And the other day I was in the bathroom and I was practicing smiling, and Wilson saw me and she was like, Mom, are you practicing smiling? And I said, yeah. And she was like, why? I said, because it's been a really long time since Mommy smiled with all her teeth out. Like I just, it's been a long time. It's been so long that when I do it, it feels fucking weird. I'm hoping that when I have these teeth in that it just naturally happens, because right now I feel like a clown. It just doesn't feel natural to me at all. It's interesting. Man, I don't know. I'm really, really, really excited. I will tell you this too. I know that they do travel, like they have like a travel plan where they book your hotel and your flight and all that shit. So if you are listening to this and you're like, well, I don't live in Florida, it's okay. They have people fly in all the time. So if it is something that you're interested in, I would let me go through it first, and then you can learn through me. But you can always, it's donein1.com. You can, figure that out for yourself. I didn't even know that this was available. I really didn't. I would have never known if I didn't see that video of that girl, which is why I'm going to be talking about this so much, because she doesn't even know it, but she helped me so much. And I would like to be able to do the same thing for other people. I'm just going to be honest. Am I going to post myself online with my fucking teeth missing? Yeah, I'm going to, because I'm going to show the entire process. If you're not following me online, I have all of that linked below as well, because like I said, it's obviously I can't put like pictures and stuff here, but I'm going to have it all there. So feel free to follow along with that. Anyway, that's my news. That's my exciting, life-changing news. And it is life-changing because it's going to close off the final chapter of the shitty mistake that I made getting those stupid fucking implants. It's like, first of all, I spent 30 grand and I still have my original OG tits. That sucks. That sucks. That's shitty. That's not fun. That's not fun. All that money, and here we are. But like I said, the teeth was the final chapter of it, and that's going to be so good to finally close that up. It's done. I got my implants the first time in my 20s. I'm in my 40s, and I'm still dealing with the ramifications. So I'm just glad that it's going to be done. So that is my episode for today. I do have a lot coming up. So Wilson is starting a little business. I'm helping her with it. It's the sweetest story ever, how it started. So I'm going to have her on soon so she can talk about how this came about and how, why she's doing what she's doing, and how you're able to support. I'm telling you, it's the cutest thing ever. I don't want to tell the story because I want her to tell you the story, but she was really able to take something that absolutely gutted her and broke her heart and turn it into something positive. And the fact that she did all of this on her own is so sweet. And don't forget too, if you have any questions to ask Toby, she's going to be coming on soon again. Any questions at all, you can message me or just leave it in, comment, let me know. If you want it to be more private, write me on social and yeah, that'll be it. But thank you for listening to that. Again, I'm not telling anybody what to do. So if you do want to get implants, go for it. Just know the info. And again, by the way, I need to make this very clear. It didn't matter what the doctor had told me because they do go through the possible negative outcomes that could happen. I wanted them so bad. Like, I didn't care. I was like, it didn't matter what he said to me. I was doing it. So this has nothing to do with him whatsoever. This was just a decision that I made, and it's just what happened. It's what happened. And not everybody that has implants is going to get sick. That is very true. I just happened to be one of the ones that did because, of course. But anyway, on that note, I hope you guys have an amazing week. And as always, I will see you next Tuesday.